Hi, Ed here from keywordspeopleuse.com, and I've got an exclusive time-limited offer for you. If you book a product demo with Keywords People Use, I'll give you a free 7-day trial of our standard plan, which allows you access to our new content optimization tool. This tool hooks into your Google Search Console data so we can find all the keywords you're ranking for and what pages are ranking. We then crawl your site content and use advanced machine learning techniques like embeddings and cosine similarity to find you content optimization opportunities that will quickly boost your impressions and clicks from Google. This new feature in Keywords People Use is already showing results for people using it. Don't miss out on the opportunity of a 7-day free trial. Just go to keywordspeopleuse.com/demo to book your slot. That's keywordspeopleuse.com/demo. You'll find the link in the show notes of this episode. Hi, Ed Dawson here. And as I'm a bit busy at the moment and need a break, welcome to another one of my Best of SEO is Not That Hard podcasts. These are the episodes from the back catalogue that I think have the greatest hits and ones that are still relevant and provide great value for you. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Hello and welcome to SEO is Not That Hard. I'm your host, Ed Dawson, the founder of keywordspeopleuse.com, the place to find and organise the questions people ask online. I'm an SEO, developer, affiliate marketer and entrepreneur. I've been building and monetizing websites for over 20 years, and I've bought and sold a few along the way. I'm here to share with you the SEO knowledge, hints and tips I've built up over the years. Hello, welcome back to SEO Is Not That Hard. It's me, Ed Dawson here as usual. And today I'm going to be talking about a topic that's causing quite a stir in the SEO world, and that is zero-click searches. So, if you've been keeping up with SEO trends recently, then you'll see more and more people talking about zero-click searches because they're becoming more common. And if you're a SEO, site owner, content marketer, whatever, you'll see the impact that they can have on your traffic. But what are zero-click searches? Why are they happening, and what do you need to do to adapt your strategy to sort of cope with these zero-click searches? So that's what we'll go through today. So let's start by defining what we mean by a zero-click search. Well, simply put, a zero-click search is when someone types a query into Google or any search engine and gets their answer directly on the search results page, so without having to click through to a website. So, for example, let's say you're looking for a weather forecast, you type weather in Rome into Google and bang, the forecast appears at the top of the search results in a neat little box. You've got your answer and you don't need to visit any weather website to sort of get that answer. So these zero-click searches, they can show up in many forms. So featured snippets, which often display a short answer to the query, right at the top. Knowledge panels, so those boxes on the right side of the search page that give detailed information on people, places, things. And even things like quick answers for calculations, conversions, or, times of events like football matches and things like that. So what's, really important to note here is that these search results, they fulfill the user's intent without them needing to click through to a website. So that's a big shift from, traditional SEO approach where the goal's always been to get people to click through to your site. So why is this happening? Why are they becoming so prevalent? Well, it's really because Google's evolved, and its ultimate mission is they've always said is to organize the world's information and make it sort of universally and widely accessible and useful. So part of that mission essentially involves providing the most sort of convenient and quick and accurate answers to users' questions. So think about the user experience. So if someone can get their answer to their question without having to click through like multiple links, then that's a good thing for the user. You would say in the first instance for the site that's provided that information, but for the user, that's a win. I mean, you think about yourself when you're using Google for those simple queries. How often do you sort of click through to visit the site when the answer's just given to you there straight away? So another reason for this is mobile search increasing. So the vast majority of searches now are done on mobile, and mobile users are often, they want quick answers, and having that information served up to them directly on the search page saves them time and effort. So that's something that Google have focused on with this mobile first indexing and improving the mobile experience. It's naturally increased the amount of zero-click results that are returned. So with all that said, and this being the world that we live in, we may want Google to send every user to our site for every question, but Clearly, they're not doing that, and they're not going to reverse that. So we've got to work out what our strategy is to deal with this. So, it might seem on the surface bad news. Few people are going to click through to our sites, and that means our organic traffic is going to suffer in the first instance. So let's think about it like on the yes side of things. So if the content is competing for answers that Google can easily display a snippet or a quick answer box, then yeah, you're going to see a decline in clicks. So if you run a weather website or a time zone conversion site, your click-through rates are going to be dropping. But on the other side, the no side, not all zero-click searches are created equal. So a lot of these zero-click searches are for simple, quick answers. These are searches that may not have, they won't have resulted in valuable clicks anyway. So if someone is, say, searching for the population of a country or doing a quick currency conversion, they're not looking to engage deeply with the website. They just want that quick piece of information. So you may be losing a visitor, a vanity metric, but you're not likely to be losing, monetary value essentially, unless the one sort of elephant in the room here is display sites. If you are, monetizing with display advertising, zero-click searches are always going to be bad for you. Okay, but for everybody else, it's not that bad if you don't get a user who has got really zero intention of engaging further than just getting that quick answer to their question. So how do we adapt to this? Well, the way that we adapt is that we think about the long game. Because if you think about it, someone who's searching for the weather in Rome, there's a good chance that person is looking because they're potentially thinking about visiting Rome on holiday. Okay. People start their searches small and then they narrow down and they get further and further towards the actual intent that they're trying to satisfy in the long run. So it might be someone that's at the very start, they're thinking about where to go on holiday. And their first initial searches may very well be simple and be the right kind of searches to have those zero-click answers. Okay. But that doesn't mean we should give up on that content, because essentially we're still trying to insert ourselves into Google's eye as a resource that's an expert and a specialist in the area, the topic, the brand, or whatever that we're covering. And we also want to insert it into the user's eyes that we're a brand. Okay, so we need to start appearing for them in these zero-click places. So what we need to do is we need to start optimizing for featured snippets. So one of the best ways to embrace this trend is to aim for these featured snippets. Is also called position zero. So when the content is chosen from our site as a snippet, we're not providing the quick answer, we're also positioning our brand as a trusted authority. And this visibility can increase our brand recognition. Even if it doesn't always result in a click, doesn't matter, we've increased our brand recognition. Plus these snippets, they usually include a link to a site, so there is a potential still to attract clicks from users who want to go deeper. So to optimize for snippets, we need to make sure our content answers questions clearly and concisely. We need to use bullet points, numbered lists, concise paragraphs, essentially sort of think like Google. How would you summarize the most relevant part of your content in a few sentences? And that will aim you for those featured snippets. And obviously, you still want to be answering those questions, finding what questions to answer. That's why, again, just a little pitch here for keywords people use will help you find those questions that people are asking that you need to be creating the content for. And then secondly, we need to focus on high intent long tail queries. So while these zero-click searches might be taking away some of the traffic from basic queries, the users are still going to be clicking through for more complex, high-intent searches. These are the kind of searches where users are researching products, looking for reviews, or seeking in-depth knowledge. This is the sort where we're going to have they're the users we want to be targeting more, because they're the ones that are more likely to be going to take the actions by the products, by the services that we're trying to advertise, trying to push. And so by focusing on these long-tail keywords, these more specific, sort of less common search terms, then you can capture users. They're much further down the purchase funnel, again, more likely to click through to your site for detailed content and hopefully, turn into customers at the end of it. And, thirdly, you've got to double down on rich, engaging content. So even though some searches won't result in a click, doesn't mean you shouldn't be creating that sort of high quality content on the back end, because, as we discussed, in previous episodes about embeddings, the depth of our content and the relatedness of the content and getting all the right stuff together increases our relevance in those embeddings when Google is deciding what the most relevant piece of content, the most relevant sources to rely on to get these zero-click answers, but then also for these deeper searches, for people who want to find out more context, who want to go further in the journey, who are further down the purchase funnel. We need to be that site, and we can demonstrate that to Google with this rich, in-depth content. So, again, if you're doing travel, then, don't just write the top 5 things to do in Rome. You need to go further. You need detailed guides. You need insider tips and interactive elements if we can, like maps, quizzes, anything that, that's going to create content that's more likely to attract those engaged users who want to click through and learn more. We want to include structured data. Any way you can include structured data on your website, that will help search engines better understand the content of your pages, and it can increase your chance of your content being selected for the feature snippets or appearing in a knowledge panel. Schema markup, for example, is a powerful way to tell Google exactly what your page is about and make it easier for the search engines to pull the most relevant information. And fourthly, we need to build our brands. Zero click, it highlights the importance of building a strong brand. So when users get quick answers from a zero click result, they may not visit your site immediately, but they will remember where the information comes from. If you keep appearing in these zero click searches as the source, when they want to go deeper, they're going to go to your brand. They're going to look for you in the results when they want to find out more information. And those users, those ones who trust your brand and have seen you around before, are much more likely to engage with you and much more likely to become customers. So let's, in terms of what's the future for zero click searches, it might be, that we're probably going to see more of these. But that doesn't mean that SEO is losing its value, because at the end of the day, it's not about the number of visitors that you attract necessarily. It is about the quality. It is about the intent of those users. If those users have got the right intent for the service and products that you're offering, then zero click doesn't matter. They can't purchase off a zero click. If someone is looking to buy something or engage with a service, at some point they have to come to the provider for the source, and Google will lead them there, but at the right time, where it's better for you to engage with them and better, you're going to get the customers if you still provide the content. Google isn't going to send users and customers to sites which don't have the content, because Google's trying to decide who's the authorities here, who are the people who are going to best serve this user's need. Okay, and it might be, as I say, as we've covered, to start with, a lot of stuff gets covered in zero clicks, so you might see less visitors. But what matters at the end of the day is your revenue, your sales. So it doesn't matter if your visitors drop, if your revenue still goes up, because you might be getting less visitors, but more relevant visitors, the ones that are ready at the time for the purchase. That's what you're after. Okay, so you don't need to be scared of zero click, unless you're doing display. You're monetizing by display ads, where this is going to be difficult for you, and that's where your strategy is probably going to be much different, and will probably involve around diversifying your traffic sources, looking at other platforms. But for everybody else who is got a product or a service to sell that isn't just eyeballs, then I don't think it has to necessarily be the awful future that many people predict. Anyway, I hope you found that useful, and give you something to think about, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Before I go, I just wanted to let you know that if you'd like a personal demo of our tools at Keywords People Use, that you can book a free, no obligation, one-on-one video call with me, where I'll show you how we can help you level up your content by finding and answering the questions your audience actually have. You can also ask me any SEO questions you have. You just need to go to keywordspeopleuse.com/demo, where you can pick a time and date that suits you for us to catch up. Once again, that's keywordspeopleuse.com/demo, and you can also find that link in the show notes of today's episode. Hope to chat with you soon. Thanks for being a listener. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe and share. It really helps. SEO is not that hard. It's brought to you by keywordspeopleuse.com, the place to find and organise the questions people ask online. See why thousands of people use us every day. Try it today for free at keywordspeopleuse.com. To get an instant hit of more SEO tips, then find the link to download a free copy of my 101 quick SEO tips in the show notes of today's episode. If you want to get in touch, have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. I'm at Channel5 on Twitter. You can email me at podcast@keywordspeopleuse.com. Bye for now, and see you in the next episode of SEO is Not That Hard.